Students, welcome to our history class. Over the weeks, we have started our chapter 3, Effects of British Rule. Now we have completed almost half of the chapter, and today we will continue with the next part and the last part of the lesson. Before I start, let me give you some instructions, and those are, along with this video, I have sent you a PDF file. I request all of you to please go through the PDF file. This particular PDF file consists the notes of history chapter 1, 2 and 3. I request all of you to please open the PDF file attached along with this video when you get your tutorial, and if possible write the notes in the notebook one by one. So now let's begin the chapter 3, Effects of British Rule, the last part of the lesson. Now, in this chapter, we have learned what were the effects of the British rule on India. Over this lesson, we learned there were not only negative effects but also positive or also good effects of the British rule on the Indian country. For example, because of the Britishers, today we are able to study in English medium schools. Because of Britishers, we have train services, we have postal services, we have telegram services, etc. So we cannot say that the British rule in India had only negative effects on India. Rather, it did have positive as well as progressive and developmental effects on Indian country. We will now continue with the last part of our lesson. Before moving on, let's recap what we have learned in the previous video. We learned about development in transport and communication system. We learned that because there was increase in trade, Britishers wanted to have trade in India. They developed or they started something called as train services, railways, which ran in the year 1853 first in India from the route Mumbai to Thane. Then we learned about decline of traditional industries. Decline means to fall and traditional means old industries. We learned because there was heavy taxes imposed on the export from India, the people or the Indian farmers or the businessmen did not have that much money to spend on the export, and therefore these industries were shut down. There were some businessmen in India, in spite of facing severe failure, they did start new industries in India, such as textile industry was started in Mumbai, jute was started in Bengal, and Tata was started in Jamshedpur. So all these industries even today are very famous, which was started by Indian businessmen after the decline of the traditional industries. So we have learned the various things that the Britishers did to get more income or to run or to rule the country of India. Today we'll move to the next part of our lesson, and that is social and cultural effects. Now all of us know India, and even today some parts of India do have their belief in some social superstitions. Society of India is different from that of society of America or any other foreign countries. Now society in India were based on values like humanitarianism, democracy, nationalism and liberalism. In the 19th century in Europe, a new era took shape on the basis of values like humanitarianism. Next was democracy, nationalism and liberalism. Now, all these values took place or they started in the country of England, the native nation of Britishers. Now, humanitarianism means insaniyat, to help everybody along you, irrespective of the caste or the gender or the people who come from various parts of society. Democracy is to allow or to select the government through the process of voting or elections. Nationalism is love for own country. Liberalism means respect and freedom for all of us. All these concepts, all these values emerged or started in the country of England, and since Britishers were ruling the country of India, they tried to implement all such values in the country of India also. I repeat myself, these was first started in England. It is all the values were there in the country of England, and therefore since they were ruling the country of India, they tried to implement or practice all his values in the country of India. So first was humanitarianism, democracy, nationalism, and liberalism. To carry out administration in India, British had to first understand the Indian society. Now, Britishers totally had control over the country of India, and therefore they wanted to change everything and bring all the values of England to the country of India. And for that, it was very important for them to first understand how the Indian society was functioning. And for that reason, they tried to select the concept of tradition, history, and literature of India. It was very important for them to change the Indian society, of course, for the good. But before that, it was important for them to study or to understand how the Indian people are living in terms of tradition. Now, tradition is culture, the way we live, the food we eat, the clothes we wear. Our tradition, our culture is called as tradition. Next is history. It was very important to know the past of India just to change the future and present of India. And literature means all the writing, languages. The main important language of India at that time was Sanskrit. So it was very important for the Britishers to change or to understand India in terms of tradition, history, and literature. I mean, different types of cultures were understood, what people follow, different types of people are living in India. It may be Hindus, Muslim, Catholic, etc. All this was important for them to understand, that is tradition or culture, history, what was the ancient history of India, and literature means different languages studied in the country of India. And for that, Sir William Jones started something called as Asiatic Society of Bengal. With this, he tried to change the tradition of India, understood the history of India, and understood the literature of India. Following laws were introduced by the British in India. Now, as I told, the Britishers wanted to change all the society of India in terms of social and cultural aspects. So, there was someone called as Lord William Bentinck. In the year 1829, he stopped something called as Sati Prohibition Act. What is the Sati? You can see over here, if a man dies, if a husband dies, his woman or his wife did not have right to survive after the death of her husband, and therefore she was forcefully made to die along with the husband. Even though she did not want to die, she has to end her life along with the husband. So this is called as Sati practice. So such practices were stopped by someone called as William Bentinck in the year 1829. He passed a law. That law was called as Sati Prohibition Act. According to this act, the act of Sati was completely stopped. So such good things were also made by the Britishers in the country of India. Today we don't have such kind of practices because all was stopped and people were literate enough, understood that all these practices were wrong in India. Next was Lord Dalhousie in the year 1856. He passed a new rule that was called as Widow Remarriage Act. What is widow now? A lady who does not have a husband. Like for example, if a husband dies, the lady becomes widow. So over here, this particular act was stopped. The lady should not jump or should not die along with the husband, and therefore she remained as a widow. In the year 1856, the Britishers passed one more act, and that was called as that widow was given a chance to marry again. That means if a husband dies, the lady is called as widow and she has the right to remarry or get married again to another person. That was called as Widow Remarriage Act. So all these practices were started in the Indian country by the Britishers. It was obviously a positive and developmental progressive effect on the British India. To educate Indians, Lord Macaulay started imparting English education in India. Now, it was very important for the Indian people to educate or to bring the language of English. Before Britishers came to India, India did not have the concept of English. People in India studied only Hindi, Marathi or Sanskrit was a more important language. But since it was very important for the Britishers, now obviously when the Britishers came to India, they did not understand the language of Hindi, Sanskrit or Marathi. It was to communicate with the Indians. It was very important for the Indians to teach English, and therefore lot of new universities and schools were started by the Britishers, which imparted or which were started in the English schools. So India was now exposed to Western thoughts. Western thought means developmental thoughts. What people in India were educated in the English medium schools, and therefore all the Western thoughts, like for example, whatever thoughts were there in England, all people of India also learned them. Like for example, people of India were now developed, they were progressive, they were educated. Modern reforms, they were now modern. Modern in terms of they understood that all the social factors in India, what they were practicing was absolutely wrong and they need to change it. So that is called as modern reforms. Third is science. Now obviously development in science was made since people of India were educated. Like for example, a lot of progressive things, we get mobile phones, we have computers, etc. happened because of science and technology. So since Indians were educated in the English medium schools, they were understood, but they were now exposed to Western thoughts, modern reforms, science and technology. So all these factors were helpful for the India to become a developing country since the ruling of the Britishers. Now universities were established at Kolkata, Mumbai and next is Madras. All the universities started by the Britishers, which provided pure English medium schools or the English subjects, which helped the Indians to educate and therefore become a modern nation. This is where we end our lesson. Let's summarize what we have learned in the entire lesson. We learned about how there was establishment of British rule, the fight between Marathas and the Britishers, subsidiary alliance. We have learned a contract was signed between the Britishers and the Indian rulers. We learned about the various effects of British rule. Some of them were really positive effects, some of them were not positive effects. We learned about the first started was the dual government. That means at the same time, two governments ruling some parts of India, British government and Indian government. We learned about parliamentary laws, new laws passed. We learned about civil services. For example, various offices were started, military was started, police, judicial system. Okay. We also learn about economic policies of the Britishers. That means the Britishers. Now here we talk about the negative effects. The Britishers imposed heavy taxes, or the Britishers forced the Indian farmers to cultivate cash crops, which was not profitable for them. And because of them, the Britishers also developed transport and communication. Trains were started, postal services were started. Okay. And lastly, they developed in social and cultural effects. So through the lesson, we realized that the Britishers did have adverse effects on the Indian country, but we cannot say it did have only negative. Some of them were really positive and developmental effects on the British rule or India. So over here, we have completed our chapter 3 of history. At the same time, we have completed our history portion for unit test. Next video onwards, we will continue with our civics first chapter. Now, I request all of you to please once again go through the PDF file which I have given you, and over there I have given you the notes of chapter 1, 2 and 3 of history. Please write those notes in your notebook that you have made for history and start learning them one after the other. Thank you.